Hello again, it's Alan. I wanted to share with you something sort of interesting or amusing, I don't know what to call it, that I've experienced lately, now that I'm over a year and a half on T, and I mean, for pretty much that whole time I've been passing all of the time. Um, so the situation is basically, well, maybe I should just start with an example. So recently I got a new job. Well, it's still at the same place where I had been working, but it's a different role. So they had to file some like personnel paperwork for my new position. And so this woman had me write down my name, my ID number for this workplace, and so forth, or my social security number or something, and my address and stuff. And then, so she took the paper from me and then was typing the stuff into the computer, and there was a space on the paper, yeah, on the paper for gender. And she didn't ask me to fill it in. She was like, only do these parts. And then she ended up doing the gender part. So she like checked the box for M or something. And I just thought that was so funny. Like it's not that she didn't want me to do the gender part. It just it it, it was in a different part of the paperwork compared to what I did. Um, and then similarly, I joined a gym recently, and this girl who got me started and like told me the basics of what to do and stuff. She was doing some paperwork for me, and it was the same kind of deal. Like she wrote down my name, she wrote down my weight and everything, and then she wrote down my gender. And um, so what stands out to me about these types of situations is just that people um, they don't think twice about it. They of course make their assumptions based on their very first impressions of how you look or sound, and then if they're people who aren't constantly thinking about gender like trans people are, they don't think twice. They just like write it down, no questions. They don't even ask you to write it down. They're like, yep, male, done. It's simple. And so, of course, these two women were correct. I mean, they wrote down the gender that they should, so it's not a problem. It's just sort of funny. It's just interesting. Um, I don't really have a point about it that I'm trying to make. I'm not quite sure. It's hard to articulate why it stands out to me and why I'm talking about it. I mean, the most I can say is just that it's just interesting how different their mental process seems to be, or how different their awareness of the nuances of gender seems to be from like mine, for example, because as I've said before, I mean, since I have been so ultra conscious of gender issues for so long, it almost feels weird to me to call somebody he or she in front of them without hearing them use a pronoun in reference to themselves, because even if they look like a typical man or a typical woman, I'm still like, well, how can I know for sure? And I mean, yeah, I assume that somebody who looks like a typical man would want to be called he and so forth. So it's not like I avoid saying the gendered pronouns. I mean, I act normal when I'm talking to people or using gendered pronouns, um, but I think about it. It feels a little odd to me to just make assumptions about people. I do it, but it feels a little odd or presumptuous. So it's just kind of funny to me that most people don't think that at all. They just go with their assumptions and don't really have any additional consciousness about it. So, um, it's just interesting. Yeah. That's kind of all I have to say about that. Yeah, so that's it. There you go. Bye.